If you're between the ages of 5 and 40, chances are you've watched Peppa Pig at least once in your life.
I hope we've invited everyone.
But did you know that even though it seems like a simple children's cartoon, the series about the pink little piggy is full of incredible mysteries? Are Madame Gazelle's sisters also vampires? If you've watched most of the Peppa Pig episodes, or perhaps seen our playlist of videos about the character, you know it's more than confirmed that Madame Gazelle is a vampire. Things like not having a reflection, super strength, loving bats, and swimming at the beach in the middle of winter show that the blood running through the children's teacher's veins is ice cold. But even so, she's not an evil vampire, as she's an excellent teacher for the children, and was even their parents' teacher 30 years ago. However, we know that Gigi, as she's known in her homeland, has two sisters named Greta and Gretel, who along with her, had a hugely successful band that won several gold records. So if all three are sisters and come from the same place, Transylvania, Dracula's land, there's a strong chance that Greta and Gretel, like Madame Gazelle, are blood-sucking creatures. Additionally, due to their appearance, they must be almost as old as, or even older than, Peppa's teacher. But none of this has been confirmed in the show as of today, so we can't be sure if there are not just one but three vampires in the Pink Piggy's world. This is just one of the many big mysteries in Peppa Pig that we've gathered to share with you today. So get ready, because another episode of Cinewave is starting. Is the zoo a prison? Peppa's world is almost entirely inhabited by anthropomorphic animals that act like humans. And it seems to be an almost perfect place where everyone lives in harmony most of the time and gets along well with each other. Despite this, we know that some characters aren't entirely good, such as Mr. Fox, who is a proven thief. And then there's Mr. Wolf, who, following his instincts, has a desire to devour poor Daddy Pig. At the same time, we know that there's a police force that helps ensure these characters are afraid to commit crimes. But have you ever wondered, if one of these characters really breaks the law, where would they go? Considering it's an animal world, many believe the best place to put offenders in Peppa's world would be the zoo. After all, it's a place surrounded by bars where animals go and are prevented from leaving. Moreover, if we take a close look, the zoo staff uniforms are blue, the same color as the uniforms worn by the police officers at the station, almost as if they were prison guards. For these reasons, many believe the zoo is indeed the place where the criminal animals in Peppa's universe are sent by the police. Which, let's admit, makes total sense.
I'm curious.
Who are Daddy Pig's parents? Throughout the Peppa Pig series, we meet Grandpa and Granny Pig, who are the maternal grandparents of the show's protagonist and George. And on Daddy Pig's side, we meet his brother, who looks very much like Peppa's dad, and his two children, Chloe and Alexander. However, even though we know who George's uncle is, the show has never revealed who Peppa's paternal grandparents are, leaving open the possibility that maybe they are no longer alive, which would help explain why we've never seen them. Although it's not essential to the series, it would be really interesting to see who they are and what their lifestyle is like, if they're still alive, of course.
Hello, big brother.
Does Peppa have two personalities? Throughout the Pink Piggy's animated series, we see that our protagonist can sometimes behave badly and other times act normally. This is evident in the episode Susie Goes Away, where the two best friends are saying goodbye and end up having a bit of an argument. And in Peppa's case, we see that she's capable of kicking her brother out of his own room without any pity, but also of tickling him just to see him happier. These are just a few examples, as there are many other moments where similar things happen. For this reason, the question arises, is there just one Peppa inside the character's little head? Or does the little piggy have two distinct personalities that make her sweet and friendly one moment and extremely unpleasant the next? Honestly, if I had to guess, I'd say Peppa has two very different personalities, which would explain a lot. If you enjoy videos, cartoons, and animated movies, make sure to click the like button before you forget. Madame Gazelle's husband. Coming back to Madame Gazelle, we have to admit that the teacher at Peppa's town school is the character with the most mysteries surrounding her. Besides being officially a vampire, in the episode Inside Madame Gazelle's House, we notice a black and white photo on the wall of a well-dressed man in clothing from the 1940s. This suggests that the man is the late husband of the children's teacher. However, when we look at the episode where Peppa and her friends visit the Science Museum, during the rocket flight demonstration in which Edmund Elephant participates, we see him pass by a picture of a gazelle character who closely resembles the one in the previous photo. But this time, the character is dressed in 18th century attire, which is from a time long before the photo of Madame Gazelle's husband. In this case, there's a real possibility that it could be the same character, but with photos taken over 100 years apart. This leaves us wondering, who exactly was Madame Gazelle's husband, and how did he manage to live so long to experience all this? This is definitely a question I'd love to have answered, wouldn't you? Where is the little cow? Just as we see new children enrolling in Madame Gazelle's school in Peppa, there have also been cases where some children simply disappear from the show without any plausible explanation. And surely in this regard, no disappearance is as strange as that of the little cow, especially because of the last Peppa movie that focused on the wedding of Mr. Bull and Mrs. Cow. After all, the only times we saw the little cow in the series was with these two characters. One with Mr. Bull entering the supermarket, and another time with Mrs. Cow in a utility store. Remember, when we saw her, the wedding between the two hadn't happened yet, so it would make perfect sense for her to appear at the wedding ceremony. This only deepens the mystery since there's no apparent explanation for her absence. So we really want to know, where's the little cow? Who is behind the vegetables? In addition to animals walking on two legs and speaking quite well, the show presents us with an even more mysterious situation: talking vegetables. And when we see these beings living in society, we automatically think of only two possibilities. Either they really are vegetables that somehow came to life and are now TV stars, or they're animals dressed as vegetables who have made it their profession. This is definitely one of the most mysterious questions in Peppa's world, and one of the ones I would most like to hear an explanation for from the creators of the Pink Piggy. After all, it never made any sense to me to see vegetables telling people to eat vegetables. It's like Peppa or someone in her family saying it's good to eat bacon, don't you think? After learning so much cool stuff about Peppa, don't waste any time and share this video with everyone you know who loves Peppa, because they're going to enjoy it a lot. Is Peppa's show secretly recorded? One of the most intriguing theories in the Peppa Pig universe suggests the possibility that Peppa's show is being filmed without the characters themselves knowing about it. The main arguments for this theory are based on the fact that when episodes begin, we often see the image zooming in through the windows of the locations where the episodes take place, almost as if it's from a camera's perspective. Similarly, the reverse happens when, for example, Peppa and George go to bed and we're sort of pulled away from the scene through the window of the children's bedroom. All these clues and more lead us to believe that Miss Rabbit might be the one behind it all, which also helps explain how she manages to have so many jobs. For more details, check out our video on the possibility that Miss Rabbit is actually the most sinister character in the Peppa series. So it's possible that everything we've watched over the past 20 years of the Pig Family series might actually have been filmed without the family's consent, which would be seriously creepy.
My disappointment is immeasurable.
Is Edmund Elephant a dwarf? Without a doubt, the character with the most scientific knowledge in the series isn't any professor or architect, but rather a small character who is the same age as George, Peppa's younger brother. The catch is that if we stop to think about it, this doesn't make much sense, since George and the characters his age are only about 2 years old. Moreover, even if he were highly intelligent, the little elephant's level of knowledge far exceeds that of his peers, who are still learning basic skills, like George, who is just getting the hang of potty training. Because of this, a theory emerged some time ago that Edmund might actually have dwarfism and could even be older than his sister Emily, or perhaps the same age as her. This way, the character would still be a gifted child, but it would make a bit more sense and would be more believable, don't you think? Why does Madame Gazelle have a glitter phobia? In the episode Masks, we see the children making their own masks, and at a certain point, they all ask Madame Gazelle if they can use glitter. But then we notice that the teacher starts to have a nervous breakdown, with eye twitches as if the request brings back some heavy memories for her. But it leaves us wondering, what could have traumatized Madame Gazelle so much that she felt the need to lock away the glitter in a school safe, ensuring that no one but her could access it? This is definitely something I would love to find out, but the show hasn't revealed it yet. Could it be that vampires are sensitive to glitter? That would be a pretty good explanation. This video is coming to an end, but that doesn't mean you have to stop watching great content. As a thank you for sticking around until the end, we've picked out 2 awesome videos for you to watch next. Trust me, you're really going to enjoy both of them. Thanks, and see you in the next video.